T-Bone's asking me, Big O, can you see Miami shocking everyone and passing on a QB in the first round, especially if Tua is gone at number 5? Yes, I can, actually. I can see Miami doing it and not reaching for a guy. Because they're not, if you've noticed, they haven't been the team that's in panic mode. They just don't do that. So far think about this. The Tunsil trade is the perfect test of whether you got a calm, cool, collective GM. Because they offer you Tunsil for a first rounder and you say no. They offer you Tunsil for 2 first rounders and you say no. Most guys would have taken that trade right there and then. 2 first rounders. No. Okay, 2 first rounders and a second. No. What? Okay, 2 first rounders, a second, and an $8 million salary. Now we're talking. This is not a dude that just flinches, bro. So I can see that they have more confidence in their drafting ability. And that's where I've told you guys this over the years, that if you know what the hell to draft, and you'll be fine in this league. You'll survive. You'll find talent. And maybe they like Josh Gordon. And maybe they think, Gordon can be the quarterback. It's not Josh, right? Is it? What's the Gordon kid? Did I get him wrong? The one from Washington State?
Hold on.
Look it up. Why am I? Because Josh Gordon is the dope-headed receiver, right? Yeah. Well, the Gordon kid. You know what I'm talking about, from Washington State. Maybe they like him. I don't know. I have no idea, but I can see that happening. I can. It's not something that will be popular because a lot of people want to see you draft a quarterback, but I can see it happening. Let's see. Draft cannot get here fast enough. Too bad. There will be no fans in Vegas. That would have been fun to watch. That would have been even better to be at. Forget watching. I wanted to be there. Okay? What's the Big O going to do for the draft? I don't know. I have no idea right now. I really don't. Because you got to be, brutally honest here. Will I sit there by myself and broadcast for hours and hours and hours? That's going to be really tough.
I'd come over and help you, man.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying the talking of having a talk for that long, that'll be really, really tough for me. Anybody.
You know what?
Remember, most people can't do what I do every day.
When you mentioned this the other day, I had an idea, and it was Def Leppard. Hit and run. Get in, get out. Get in, get out. That's what, you know what I mean? That way, on the beat and in the mode, but not having to sustain between this and this. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And do a hit and run. Def Leppard.
We could do that. We could, or the other thing that I was thinking of is we do a segment after every round. You know what I mean? And so that way we kind of recap what went on in the round, and we give you our thoughts on it, and we also maybe even try to track down some of these players and get them on. That kind of stuff. I can see maybe something like I got to do something on draft day. No doubt about that. That I promise you. I'll do something on draft day. I don't know what it is, but we'll be at home and we'll go up in the studio and try to get it done as much as possible.
That would be an Anthony Gordon.
Anthony Gordon. That's Anthony. It's Anthony. There you go. Anthony Gordon. Yes.
I like the idea of everybody pissing their pants and, we need a quarterback, and us sitting there at 5 and taking calls and trading and getting somebody's number 1 for 21 or 22 and sliding back, 4, 5, 6, whatever number of spots, and okay. We got, and then, you know what? We could still get Herbert and it'll be further down than 5.
Right. I get you. I listen, at this point, I'm not going to put anything past them. I know that they want their quarterback, but I know that they're not also going to give up the house for him. Because whoever they draft or whoever they sign or whoever they trade for, they want them to join a team that's loaded to make their lives easy. So maybe you continue with the development of Rosen and you play Fitz and you draft a secondary quarterback like an Anthony Gordon, like a Nate Stanley, like what's it called, the Princeton kid that I like, Davidson. Something like that. That might be
the kid Morgan from FIU, man.
Yeah,
he's
James
not
Morgan.
a bad kid, man.
No, James Morgan's
if
a
you
nice
get
little
any of
project.
these guys in the right spot, you got something to work with.
Right. And if you give them a loaded team, then they've got an opportunity. Look at Ryan Tannehill, dude. Ryan Tannehill is not a great quarterback. Never will be a great quarterback. But you gave him a defense, a monster running game in line, and you got to the AFC Championship game. And you won playoff games with him throwing 70 yards because the team is that good. It's not because he's that good. So that's kind of what they want to do too. That if they can't get the guy that they feel is the franchise guy, well, then they'll load up the team. And so whoever they do have will be much better because of the people around him. And you really can't argue with that kind of thinking because that's how the Broncos won a title a couple years ago. Because Peyton Manning sucked. And it's happened a ton of times. Carolina was loaded. They got to the Super Bowl with Jake Delhomme. The Bears were loaded. They got to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman. It happens, bro. You could get there, and then you could win it with Brad Johnson and Trent Dilfer. But you're going to have to build a hell of a team around them. And that's what they want to do. They want to build a hell of a team so whoever's the quarterback, you got a shot at winning. And if you get a special guy, you got a shot at winning it all. But we already had the special guy, and we didn't have the team. I know some of you are not old enough, so you didn't live the Marino era. But those of us that lived the Marino era, we had the guy, but you had no defense and no running game. It's a catch-22, ladies and gentlemen. And you're not going to win with the guy and nobody else around him. Because Marino at least had some offensive weapons, didn't have the scary running back that he needed, and definitely did not have the scary defense he needed. And he put up a bunch of points, got to the playoffs a couple times, got to the Super Bowl, but couldn't win it all because he didn't have the team. So they feel that they'd rather build the team because it's happened. Well, think about the history of time. How many times has a quarterback, a monster quarterback, has won a championship with no defense or no running game? How many times does that happen? Rare, right? Usually they got pretty much everything else that's complementing them. But how many times have you seen the average quarterback at best win it or less? Because Peyton Manning wasn't even average. But you've seen Trent Dilfer win it, right? You've seen Brad Johnson win it. So you've seen that, hey, there are other guys out there that can go win the title for you. They don't have to be monsters. But the great quarterback surrounded by not much, winning the Super Bowl? No, dude. This isn't college basketball where you watch Glenn Rice and Danny Manning carry a team all the way to the title with, barely anything around them. That's just not the way it goes. Not in football. Joe Montana needed a defense. Needed Roger Craig. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. Terry Bradshaw needed the steel curtain. Needed Franco Harris. He wasn't going to win it with just Stallworth and Swan. That wasn't going to be enough. It was great, but it wasn't going to be enough. So we've kind of seen all of that. That's where I feel we're going in that direction. I feel that it's more important for them to build a great football team loaded, and then eventually you'll find that quarterback. But you're not going to give up the house And you're not going to do what Mike Ditka did to get Ricky Williams. And you're not going to do what Mike Lynn did in Minnesota to get Herschel Walker. Because those things don't work out. When you're giving up a boatload of picks for one player, and then the player joins you and you don't have enough around him. So then where are you? You're back to square one again. And meanwhile, the guy you traded for is killing himself playing for you, but look at Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck got all the way to the AFC Championship game with no defense and no running game. Did he win a Super Bowl? No. Because you gave him no defense, no running. Oh, I'm sorry, he didn't have an offensive line either. I forgot about that. Andrew Luck made it all the way to the AFC Championship game with no offensive line, no defense, and no running game. That's, I think, what the philosophy is right now, is what we're talking about. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. Flipside Fishing says you have to have balance. I agree 100%. Wasn't like Pat Mahomes was doing it all by himself, man. Defense stepped up. They have a running game. They've got all kinds of weapons. They got a great coach. You know, it's just not Mahomes.
It's a team sport, man. You never do it by yourself. This ain't tennis. This ain't golf.
How many Super Bowl champions can you name that the quarterback got there with a very mediocre team and won it?
Look, man, I could think of Marino, man. And we had the number one offense, and we had the worst 28th ranked defense.
I don't know if they were 28, but they were
mediocre. We were because
but
we were the killer bees. We were the killer bees 2 years prior, 82. Yeah, all defense.
Right, yeah.
Arnsparger, number one defense. Yeah. And in 2 years, Arnsparger, we know, goes up to Florida, becomes athletic director, and, man, the defense
went to crap.
Gone. Bye-bye.
Right. Went to crap. And that's why, but again, how many, what Super Bowl champions out there that like won because of him and really barely anything else?
They all have two components. You look at it. Defenses and some semblance of a running game.
Yeah.
Almost every one of them, man.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing, we got to have the guy. Well, yeah, but the guy will get killed. You know, the guy will get killed like Archie Manning. The guy will get killed like Andrew Luck. The guy will not get there and get over the top like Marino. You know, we could just go on and talk about those guys that are out there that have been special but did not have everything around them. And the end result is what it is. And lesser quarterbacks, a lot lesser quarterbacks than Marino, have won Super Bowls. A lot. That's the philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. Load it up.